The church is always looking for ways that we can reach kids.
We had a young man in our congregation who had a pretty tough upbringing. If anyone had a reason to go bad, it would have been this kid. But through the scouting program and through his involvement in the church, he got his eagle. He's a fine young man today.
One of the great difficulties in church youth work today is finding activities that allow the youth to focus their energies in positive directions. And scouting is one of those activities.
Our program is really based a lot on adventure programs, whether it be biking or camping or canoeing or rafting. That just naturally appeals to a group of kids that's not going to maybe come in for my Sunday morning Bible class.
Scouting offers a whole extra look at what life can offer in terms of the specific skills that it teaches, thinking of everything from the self-discipline of scouting, the earning of badges, the fellowship that's shared on scouting events.
You can do real active things.
It's going on hikes with my friends and being together.
It takes boys at a certain age where they're growing up and maturing, and it helps them give direction for their life.
Scouting's main strength is that it depends heavily, if not almost entirely, on a strong family relationship.
Scouting promotes family involvement with their child. It's not just singling the child out. And as a parent of a scout, you find that you're helping them work on projects, you're helping them think of projects, you're guiding them along with their scout leaders.
They develop a relationship with adult leaders, which I think can be real helpful to a lot of boys, to have another adult in their life who cares about them and that they can go to if they need support.
There's so many kids now that come from broken homes or come from single-parent homes where it's just the mom at home. And boys need a male role model. They really do.
Many times I've had to be the grown-up dad or the substitute dad when we go on trips.
It gives me a lot of pleasure seeing what they can do, seeing them struggle with it for a little bit, and then me able to help them get to that next level, be able to do something like, tying the right knot, pitching a tent.
If the church can be a part of that, to me it would be so much better if that male influence could also hopefully be a Christian and have a Christian influence on them too.
Just quite simply, scouting is just the number one character builder, and I think that in itself just says it all for me.
It's not just wearing a uniform that makes you a scout. It's obeying the scout law and doing a good turn daily.
When we talk to the brand new scouts about the Scout Oath and Scout Law, frequently we will use the Ten Commandments as an analogy and point out that God has given us certain rules. Also, the Boy Scouts have certain rules.
Courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful.
In scouting, there's a lot of self-discipline, a lot of character building, talk a lot about integrity and again, goals and orientating themselves toward the future in a positive way. And I think that's what scouting offers in terms of complementing what we're teaching in the church.
It's living your life according to the scouting ways. And the same thing is true of being a Christian. It's not just the fact that you put on your nice clothes and you come to church on Sunday that makes you a Christian, but it's living your life for Christ.
One of the tenets of Boy Scouting is a belief in God.
They put God first.
Well, certainly we talk about in the Lutheran Church a lot of sharing God's love, and we see that all the time in the scouting program.
The Scout Oath, on my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty to God. And it starts out that way. And the church teaches the same thing, is duty to God, and it starts right off at the beginning of the Scout Oath.
One of the 12 points of the Scout Law is to be reverent. And this is directly related to our church and what our church would like to extend, and it's just a nice complement.
They see the sheer beauty of nature, of God's creation, and the wildlife, the rivers, the mountains, and I think that develops a keen sense of the world that God has made.
We talk about being made in the image of God in the church, and the sense of community is so important. We look at the church as a global church, and we look at Scouting, and Scouting is really a global organization. Young people who are in Scouting can relate to Scouts in any part of the world today.
Some people think about youth ministry in terms of preparing, working with the youth who are the church of tomorrow. But really, youth are the church of today.
It gives us an access to kids in a different way.
In our particular case, and for many congregations, we're a growing, diverse and multicultural church in the heart of a city. And so for us, as many ways to open the doors to young people, to see the church as an inviting place. And so we do that physically by keeping the doors unlocked all the time, and then programmatically through programs like Scouting.
And this is a way that they come here, and if they're not at our church, they're going to be someplace else.
Whole families will come to this congregation because of the Scouting program.
It helps to identify the church as a community-based organization.
The mission of the church is to make disciples of all nations. And a church with a closed door is not going to be about that ministry. So you have to get your name out, and it offers opportunity for the community to come and become familiar with what you offer.
They help us be aware of community needs too, so that we have a focus that extends beyond our walls.
I think the church as a family is proud of what their boys have decided to do, organized, persuaded others to help them do, and achieved.
We're not just a church, but we are a people united in faith. And I think Scouting gives a wonderful witness to that aspect of our faith.
The boys actually get a chance to become members of the church in ways that they might not otherwise be.
I get excited about the fact that 15 to 20 guys come out on a Monday night and can have a relationship with their church that's apart from Sunday school.
To have a pack and troop or a venture group come into the church, it has been fabulous for us.
Looking at the possibilities for high school students, some of the pieces that are co-ed now offer chances for young people to go far beyond their own community.
I think it's very important that the Scout troop is integrated into the church life, not just using the facility of the place.
It's not the group that meets in your church fellowship hall once a week that you have nothing to do with. It's a group that a congregation helps to shape and weave to fit the community that they're in.
And that's the neat thing about being associated with the church, that we can set our own programs.
One of the biggest things right now that we're really seeing the fruits of are the religious growth awards. God and Me, God and Family, God and Church.
The boys are encouraged to earn their religious growth awards or their religious emblems, and that is a tremendous broadening of that boy's faith.
Another element is the adult component of Servant of Youth, which is a 5-year recognition, and the Lamb Award, which is a 10-year recognition to adults who work with youth.
Getting those awards in front of the entire congregation and standing up there, the boys are just beside themselves. They're so proud of themselves that they've done that.
We do Scout Sunday,
where we have not only the Scouts and the Scoutmaster, but their families as well. And it pretty well packs out the church on that Sunday.
They take a lot of pride in doing that whole church service.
Ultimately, what it does for these families and these boys is it gives them part of the church that they can take with them.
Those congregations that have a successful scouting program also have a successful youth program.
It's so important to include kids in activities in church, and it just builds all those connections with the church for those boys.
I would say go for it. I think it's nothing but a win-win situation. It has so many benefits to the congregation and to the boys. It's intergenerational.
The only thing that I've seen are positive results. You know, I see young people so excited about it. I see parents involved with kids. I see awards being received. I see people being lifted up, and that's only positive. And when we can do anything that's positive, that's an asset for our families and for our kids and for the church, that's what we're to be about. And I think the Boy Scouts offer a fine avenue for that type of relationship.